And like, I think that's the magic of the imagery that might be unfamiliar to you, is that it cuts through the noise of your preconceived notions of answers and ideas, and it goes deeper into the subconscious and pulls out that information from you that maybe you're not willing to see. Welcome to Whimsiphoria. I'm your host, Olivia Clack. Hello, Wimlings, Euphorians. I'm glad you're back for this bonus episode. If you weren't here last release, I said you should go be a little crab and you'll be okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about what I meant by that. So we're going to discuss all things the zodiac sign of Cancer as we are entering Cancer season, as we always do on the summer solstice, June 21st. And so we're going to talk a little bit about Cancer, or a lot of bit about Cancer, and then we are going to talk about the tarot and how those two things can work together to give us some more information about our experience and our journey through the sign of Cancer. So Cancer is the crab. They weren't always the crab, though. If you go back a little, in the medieval ages, they were the crawfish, even a lobster at one point. And then originally in Egyptian mythology, they were the scarab, right? All of these creatures have in common this like hard exterior and this like soft inside, right? And that is in a nutshell, because I don't have time to like, I don't want this podcast would be like 3 hours long if I went deeply into everything I'm covering today. It's just Cancer at a general glance. In a nutshell, it really describes the Cancerian personality trait, where there's like a hard exterior and then a protective energy, right? It's a good thing. But like all signs, there's positives and there's negatives. There's good instincts, natural instincts, and then people can lean into them too hard as a defense mechanism, and then it gets a little wonky, right? Like every sign has that capability. So that hard exterior, that protective energy, a sense of security, a resonance with home, family, nurturers. These are like the buzzwords of a Cancer, right? They're fierce lover girls, like they're fierce loving energy, but there's also like this need for security and safety. And I don't mean financial security, though it could manifest like that for someone. I just mean like feeling safe in the body, right? And so they can tend to be homebodies or retreat or side shuffle around issues or topics or things. They can have a tendency to be indirect and easily frightened, right? And do that like crab shuffle walk, or like go back into the crab hole. But they are fierce. I feel like Cancer energy is actually really, really fierce when it's direct, when it's directed, when it's intentional. And the thing is, like, with doing a deep dive on Cancer, you might be thinking to yourself, I don't have Cancer in my chart. Wrong. Welcome to Astrology 101. You have every sign in your chart, okay? So I want you to pull up your birth chart. It's going to look like a ring, and it's going to confuse. If you've never looked at one, it's going to scare you. Don't be scared. Don't be frightened. There's your Cancer. Just find the Cancer symbol. And look, it'll show you at the bottom which one's Cancer. And just find the Cancer symbol in the ring. You'll find out what house it's in. You'll find out if you have any placements in there. And you might have an empty house of Cancer, but the house is still symbolic of these, of ideas. So that's a really good starting point for research. If you feel like I don't have anything in Cancer, well, you do. It's definitely one of your 12 houses. That's how a birth chart works. So go check that out, and then have a listen to this podcast with that context in mind. And if you're really interested in getting a birth chart, I'm going to have birth chart readings available on my website very, very soon. Very excited about that. So thank you. And yeah, let's get into it. It's poetry time. Okay. This, I feel like, really sums up Cancer. This is the yogi's choice, I feel like. If you've ever had a yoga instructor give you a quote at the end of your yoga class, odds are they took it from this. The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And this one has a foreword by Rupi Kaur, which is, if you don't know, kind of like the poet of our time right now. There's a dog back there I can see. And a woman spoke, saying, "Tell us of pain." And he said, "Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Even as the stone of the fruit must break, that its heart may stand in the sun, so must you know pain. And could you keep your heart in wonder at the daily miracles of your life, your pain would not seem less wondrous than your joy. And you would accept the seasons of your heart, even as you have always accepted the seasons that pass over your fields. And you would watch with serenity through the winters of your grief. Much of your pain is self-chosen. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Therefore, trust the physician and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. For his hand, though heavy and hard, is guided by the tender hand of the unseen. And the cup he brings, though it burns your lips, has been fashioned of the clay which the potter has moistened with his own sacred tears. Let's look at some major arcana. Remember, okay, the tarot is split up into major and minor. Majors are big life themes that are going to be happening over usually like a longer period of time. They're going to stick around. They're going to be bigger life lessons versus like the minors are kind of more in the moment. They're more transitory. The first card is the Chariot. The Chariot has long been associated with the sign of Cancer traditionally, and the thing that beginners most miss is that the Chariot is actually not a movable chariot made of wood with horses. It's made of cement and sphinxes. So again, it's about that idea about going within again. When we pull the card like the Chariot also in a reading for anybody, no matter where your Cancer placements are, we should be thinking, okay, what's inside my hula hoop? Because the Chariot isn't moving. I can't necessarily go over there. If we think of major arcana as the weather is a hurricane. Like this sometimes scares me, not scares me, I shouldn't say that. This sometimes perks my interest more or engages me more than like the Tower does, right? The Tower is like, oh, the rug is gonna ripped out from under me, and there's gonna be these major shifts that are life altering. The Chariot is more like, okay, things are going to go down, but there's also going to be nothing that you necessarily can do about it other than go inside, get quiet, and see what there is for you to excavate and to learn about yourself, the way you relate to others, how you can be free emotionally and spiritually while in the limitations of this physical body. It's almost like the Chariot is the extension of the physical body, where, and at some points, like our body is like, no, I can't. A lot of us have, especially women, have autoimmune disorders. We have physical pain. We wake up and our brain's just like, I don't think so this morning. I don't think we're gonna really be, that to-do list you had, that's cute. That's cute. That's, you make plans and God laughs, right? The Chariot, like, it's all about like what's going on inside of us and how, because that's what we do can exert some sort of control over. And I actually want to like put this image next to the image of the charioteer with all their senses driving, that are like all the horses driving the cart, right? How can we be more like this guy and less like, driven by what's going on around us, right? If you notice, if you're ever on the beach, you've been there for maybe, you got your towel down, you've like lathered yourself in sunscreen, and people have stopped walking by, and you're done trying to like get your medal back that you can't actually get because that's just not humanly possible for you, but you're done trying, you're settled. And you like are just looking around, and all of a sudden one crab comes up, and then another, and then another, and all of these crabs start coming up because it's quiet and it's safe. And it's like, what a metaphor, man. What a metaphor. The next card is the moon. Why the moon? Because Cancer is ruled by the moon. Super important information. So, and it has the little lobster, which is, people say often a reference to Cancer because in the medieval times, it was a lobster and a crayfish. All right. So, the moon card is the card of confusion. Oftentimes, I have a very complicated relationship with this card. It can often mean that things are kind of obscured, right? In the moonlight, in the darkness, we can't see 100% clearly with our eyes. The important part is the third eye. We got more than these two, baby. It's about, again, this idea of opening up to seeing what's going on underneath the surface. It's kind of an initiatory card. I feel like any card that has to do with loss of sight or, loss of sight. There's a couple of cards where traditionally the character is blindfolded. And this card having to do with illusion and like kind of a loss of grounding in reality, I think also of an initiation process where it's like you don't know exactly what's going on, but can you keep your footing through that? Can you keep doing the next right thing? Chop wood, carry water. Can you keep going? And then things will become clear come morning, right? And like the figurative morning, obviously. It's not usually over the day. This is usually a period of time. Remember I said major arcana are like a period of time, right? So traditionally the Chariot and the Moon are really big Cancer cards. But you could also look at the High Priestess because the High Priestess is ruled by the moon and not typically any zodiac sign. And the High Priestess, again, all about intuition, understanding, that higher self coming through, leading with the higher self. So that's another great card, but I'm not going to get into that one today. So what is the difference? I feel like I described these two very similarly. What is the difference between these two? The Chariot is about going within things going on around you. It is a little bit of a cocoon phase. I think there's a little less action happening here, like physical action. Though, of course, don't let this like stop you from doing the things you need to do. Obviously, this is not medical advice. But it is about like maybe getting quieter and sitting in stillness more. If that's something you avoid doing, if you're like a control freak, the Chariot is a great piece of medicine for you. Not literally, see your doctor, take your pills. The Moon is like, don't stop believing, baby. Like, keep going, keep doing the things you're supposed to be doing, and things aren't as they seem, especially if we're clouded by our emotions, maybe by maybe we still have a very strong inner critic voice or something of that nature. So definitely chop wood, carry water, don't believe everything you think or everything you see. More will be clear later, and you don't want to have made any major life-altering decisions under the influence of the night, right? And that little piece of tidbit you can take literally. So let's talk a little bit about the story of the cups, right? You've got 4 suits in the tarot. You've got wands, pentacles, swords, and cups. Now, cups traditionally relate to the water signs, right? And definitely to the element of water. So if we look at the cups, Ace through 10 of Cups, Ace 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 10, we have a story. And that's kind of how I like to understand the minor arcana in each element, is that the wands have a story, the swords have a story, the pentacles have a story, and the cups have a story. And it's an emotional story, right? Water sign, all about our emotions, which is also related to our energy. Obviously, they work all together. All four suits work together to create this like holistic experience. But let's look at 1 through 10. And I'm going to go through this so fast because I don't got time. We don't got time for that. And if you want more information, good on ya. Go get it. So go get it. You have a lifetime to learn all this stuff. So, all right. Let me see. I got my... so many cards. So many cards. Okay. These. All right. So Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups traditionally belongs to every sign of the water sign. So you have Scorpio, you have Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces in that order. And then you have, so Ace is going to go to belong to all of the water signs. And then traditionally you split up the 10 cups, is 2, 3, 4 are Cancer's cards. 5, 6, 7 are Scorpios, and 8, 9, 10 would be Pisces. Okay, so a cardinal sign like Cancer is going to be focused, and so it comes right after the Ace. And then you have 2 of Cups, 3 of Cups, 4 of Cups. 2 of Cups is like... the 2s are always about, can you hold both truths at the same time? Or is there something that cannot exist within the direction that you're trying to go? And then that's like the get rid of it. But I feel like whenever I pull a 2 of anything, 2 of Cups, Swords, Pentacles, or Wands, it's going to incite in me as like, okay, what 2 ideas am I battling with? Most of the time, do I need to be battling with them? Or is it like, instead of I have this, but this, do I need to like flip that into an and? I have this and this, right? So when we heard our poem, it's kind of like, where's the sorrow in our joy and the joy in our sorrow? And do I have to like be like putting these things in 2 different corners and then like tearing myself apart, trying to grapple with the fact that both of them exist? Or can I be at peace? Can I accept and hold these 2 truths at the same time? That's to me what 2s are about. And sometimes it's me trying to hold on to 2 things at the same time, but one really cannot exist while the other one exists, and like more material world things rather than ideas. But am I trying to succeed and accomplish a goal while also having this like horrible habit or time consuming, like, am I trying to do too much? That also can be like a 2's thing. But more times than not, I feel like, especially with the 2 of Cups, it's their ideas, their feelings. They're usually feelings, and it's like hard for me to hold both at the same time. So 2 of Cups is like, can I sit with both things, with both feelings, and that be okay? Right? And we have the caduceus on this 2 of Cups card, which to me, there's traditional meanings of that, but I think so much about 2 of Cups is like moving past the duality, acknowledging that you are dealing with a duality, and then like moving past it into unity. And then 3 of Cups, okay, there's like celebration. We've moved past this this moment, and everybody says community, harmony. 4 of Cups, it's kind of like this grappling with with like a reckoning, like an understanding. When we understand something fully, there can be a need to like isolate, process, and it's kind of like this gift of rest and acknowledging that awareness is something that we don't want to neglect in order to feel joy. I would rather be aware than not aware, even if it brings feelings that are less than cozy. Lastly, Five of Cups, deep grief. If we were to look at all of these cups in this like order of a story, healing, emotional healing, and emotional process around any one issue is never like a straight line up, right? It comes in waves. And so we see that in the story of the cups, Ace through 10. There are these highs, this equanimity, lows, very low, moving through with community. 6 is the emotional uplift that comes through service. 7 is understanding that there is we are the viewer of our emotional landscape, and it's kind of like a letting go of the senses. And then with that comes like almost autonomy, authority, and a perception shift, but an authority over our feelings, like a sense of, I don't want to say control, but like a mastery over like, maybe I don't need to feel this right now. Like I'm at work, I actually have a choice to whether I'm going to crumble right now or can I save it for a space that's safe. When I see the 7 of Cups filled with all of those gifts, it's like, it's this feeling of like, oh, I have the power. Like I am the one driving this vehicle, and like if I let those emotions just sit in the back, I can actually decide when and how to process them appropriately instead of being driven by emotions. And then from that comes this sense of like the world is your oyster, right? For so many people, very emotional people, maybe you have water signs in your big 3, or Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, you might feel driven by your emotions 24/7, right? And 7 of Cups is like is what comes after all of this like work, or maybe like it's even just like a epiphany out of nowhere that's like, oh, I don't have to let these things rule me or decide the kind of day I'm going to have. So 7 of Cups, big positive energy. 8 of Cups, there's this journey. Again, it's like with the cup story, it's like epiphany, and then what am I going to do about it? And then like community, and then sadness, because there's like this understanding of the way things work. The water signs are incredibly intuitive. They're aware, they're empathetic. Therefore, it can lend itself to an emotional roller coaster. So understanding how to master and go with the flow, understanding how to master these feelings and allow these feelings, accept these feelings while not letting them control you is a huge part of the journey of the cups. 9 is like such a good card. 9 of Cups. It's one that I kind of struggle with often, honestly, but the way I feel when I pull 9 of Cups is kind of like a contentedness and equanimity, a feeling that like all things are the way they are. It's not going to be the most blissful day. I'm not going to maybe feel euphoric or an epiphany, but I am going to feel okay with what is. And then from that comes the 10 of Cups, all of this joy, the feeling that the world is your oyster again. So that's kind of a quick little Ace through 10 of Cups. Now, like I said, 2, 3, and 4 are traditionally Cancer's cups, okay? And then 5, 6, 7 would be Scorpio, 8, 9, 10 would be Pisces. And that's just one way you can do it. You might come up with your own system, but if we're looking at 2, 3, 4 as being Cancer's cups, it's kind of like the direction, the internal experience and acknowledgement informing the direction. Okay, so whatever those two things are that you are grappling with coming into Cancer season, those two feelings about a particular issue or about where your life is in a moment, can you hold them both? Can you turn the, I feel like this, but I got this thing. Can you turn it to an and then 3 of Cups is like, be with that joyously in community, spread that news that you're okay with it, because maybe you've been spreading the news that you're not okay with it a lot. So put that out there, right? That you are in harmony. Yes, you're this age, and yeah, you're gonna go back to school. Yes, I have been feeling a lot of deep grief around the loss of this person in my life, but I'm really looking forward to bingo. Okay? Like, you can have both things be true, right? And if you're not feeling that truth, that's okay. And then we have we never talked about the major. I mean, not the major. We talked about the major. We talked about the minor. We never talked about the court cards. So the way I read court cards, and I'll just go through this quickly. The way I read court cards is the pages are messengers. No shock there. That's not something that's really original to me. The rest are a little more like an Olivia flair. The knights, protectors, guardians, preservers. Queens, creators, manifestors. Kings are engagers. They're space makers. They're freedom fighters. And that's the way I read all of the court cards. Messengers, knights are protectors, guardians, preservers. Queens are manifestors. They go out, they do. They create, they manifest what they believe in. And then kings are the space makers, all right? And the freedom, like, they make space so that the queen can go do her stuff, and the knight protects the queen. You know, that's the way it makes sense to me. That's the way I read tarot. But then, of course, this is just of cups, and we have swords, pentacles, and wands also to deal with. But if you think about it in if it's water, cups, in the emotional landscape, she's up. She's back at it. Make a move. Good choice. Good choice. So if you look at this as this is the emotional landscape, your Page of Cups is going to be somebody that is delivering thoughtful, insightful information about the emotional landscape. Maybe I'm embodying this right now. The Knight of Cups is going to protect their own emotional nature, be a guardian of. The Queen is going to manifest, create out of that emotional landscape, and the King is going to make space so that emotions can be appropriately processed and had. And that's just these cards, I just want to say, because this podcast is like a podcast, these cards are so deep. And this is the basics. And also it's my basics. I've been reading tarot for 6 years. And like, this is what I have like learned through reading for other people. through books, but then also my own take on things as well. And then also there's the whole element of being a psychic where I just know stuff, and for the card that's on the table is the card that's on the table, right? And so there's that too, where like you might pull a card, but like your inner knowing might not have nothing to do with the traditional meaning, my meaning, someone else's meaning of the card, but your inner knowing knows something way offhand. And like I think that's the magic of the imagery that might be unfamiliar to you, is that it cuts through the noise of your preconceived notions of answers and ideas, and it goes deeper into the subconscious and pulls out that information from you that maybe you're not willing to see. So to me, that's how the iconography and imagery of the tarot and of any deck of cards works, is that it kind of like cuts through those preconceived ideas and answers. Yeah. I didn't mean to explain how tarot works in this podcast, but things happen. So about Cancer season in the most general terms. Cancers are great. If anybody tries to throw down words about a Cancer that aren't anything but glorious, well, violence isn't the answer, so never mind. But you guys, I think you have everything you need to know. I didn't say that the reason it was a scarab beetle was because that was like the icon associated, or like the animal creature associated with the god Capri, I think is. No, it can't be like the pant, can it? Can't be like the pants, can it? Just a little fact check here. Fact checking so you don't have to. Whimsiphoria. It is like the pant. I feel like I need a pair of capris with like a scarab beetle embroidered on them. And if you know, that's just the way my brain works. And he was the scarab-faced god in ancient Egypt who represents the rising and the morning sun. And if you don't know, now you know that the beginning of Cancer season is always linked to the summer solstice, when the sun stands still or is at its highest point, right? So I seem less excited about Cancer. It's been a long haul. I almost burned myself at one point. You didn't see that. The camera stopped recording. I don't know what's worse. Like, wishing that the camera recorded you getting burned or getting burned, and then the camera didn't record. I don't know that I like who I'm becoming. Pull like a specific card for Cancer season. This card will play out through all of Cancer season. We have King of Pentacles. All right, so space makers. Remember I said all the suits are connected, right? So even though the cups are about emotions and water, and wands are about like our energy and our vitality, and pentacles are about our body, like all those things are connected, obviously. Like our emotions are connected to our body, or connected to our energy source, and then swords connected to our mental outlook. So so the vehicle to a better emotional life through Cancer season might be through the body. King of Pentacles lives in all of us. Again, these are all archetypes that live in all of us, and just focusing on each one can offer direction that opens up all of it to us, right? So Pentacles, the body. I don't read it about money. I read it about the body. So the king being the space maker, the freedom fighter, that's going to be the archetype within you that's actually fighting to, and fighting not in a bad way, but like engaging and making choices that are going to liberate the body, so that maybe we can dive deeper into those emotional depths the end of this June, early July, through Cancer season. So The King of Pentacles is an archetype that's going to say, you can say no or you can say yes. Whatever feels right for the body. Therefore, we can feel the emotions we need to feel, process the emotions we need to process, be around people who are safe. That's what the King is about. The King of Pentacles is going to really put the body first. And through the body, the issues is in the tissues. You ever heard that? Now you have. The issues is in the tissues, right? So if we're putting ourselves in situations where we're like this all the time, it's kind of like difficult, right, to like process. Or maybe that's what you need to do in order to like, I don't know, like whatever's right for you. The biggest thing about, again, Cancer is like whatever's right for you. But maybe the direction of like going through the body to the emotional landscape might be the perfect advice, right? Because a lot of us are like, well, I don't want to, like, how do I process this? Like, what does processing emotions mean? Well, maybe if you focus on your body this month a little more, like the answers about what that means will come, and you'll get like kind of an intuitive, you'll be intuitively led into that. So King of Pentacles, again, that's our card for the month of Cancer. I went over so many cards today so fast, so I feel like I almost did a disservice, but there'll be more podcasts and more time to dive into specific cards. But I was trying to show you kind of all of the faces of Cancer through the tarot today. So thank you so much. This is officially over. I swear this time. Bye.